everybody. My name is Blake Wright with Central Valley Charter Schools. And once again, you are listening to your Transition Podcast. Today, we have a great episode planned for every single one of you. It's a little different than some of our career, college kind of transition style podcast tip videos, but just as important. And being that it's the month of February, we wanted to kind of touch on how to create and maintain healthy relationships. Now, relationships are a huge part of our daily lives, right? We have so many people that come into our lives in one way or another. And this kind of extends far beyond just who might be your Valentine. And maintaining a healthy relationship with our friends, our family, or our partners is just huge. And it really helps and kind of bleeds into all these different aspects of our lives, including like our mental health, as well as just our quality of life as well. You know, maybe we have good, healthy working relationships in our workplace, and the work environment is really more collaborative and understanding and closer, and more supportive. Maybe our friendships are a lot closer. Maybe we don't need a lot of friends, but we have a few like really quality friends that we know we can rely on. So with that kind of said, that kind of little preview there, I just want to kind of mention that our school does have a social emotional learning, that's SEL, resources that are available to all of our students, our staff, our families. And so it's such a huge and incredibly important resource. It's just an amazing resource that I'm going to go ahead and link that in our description below. So be sure to check that out and share it. It's incredible. It's unlike anything else. I wish we had something like this when I was in school. It's absolutely a wonderful resource. So check it out in the description after the video, of course. So without further ado, I want to give you some ways that we can kind of create and maybe maintain healthy relationships. So the first one is kind of different than what we might expect, but it's getting to know ourselves. So one of our most important relationships that we're going to have in our lives is with ourselves, right? We're spending the most time with ourselves all the time, and we want to get along with ourselves, right? We want to like ourselves, we want to enjoy being around, trust ourselves, things like that, right? So taking the time to appreciate and get in touch with yourself and your emotions, learning how you handle certain situations. Why do you get angry sometimes? And how do you best deal with that? And kind of getting a broader understanding of yourself and how you react with things in the world and relationships. This is going to help you be able to express yourself a lot more and communicate a lot more effectively as well. Because if we don't know how we can like regulate all of our emotions, if we don't really know how to control these things when they come up, or we don't really understand them, it could be really confusing. It can make a really difficult time, maybe like an argument or something, even more difficult because we still don't know how we feel about things. So getting a better understanding of yourself is really beneficial and great for your mental well-being. So number two, going back to multiple people, and this can apply to ourselves as well, but it's putting in the work. Having a healthy, positive relationship isn't necessarily something that's like easy or comes naturally. I mean, it definitely helps, but we still have to put in that work and nurture it. It's kind of like taking care of a plant. Maybe we have like some really hardy weather resistant plants, but we still have to water it. We still have to feed it. We still have to make sure it gets enough sunlight. We still have to put in that work to take care of it. It might do okay, but it can be better. And so it takes a lot of commitment and willingness to kind of accommodate other people's needs, making sure that your needs are also taken care of. One way you could do this is being like an active listener. Somebody comes home and they're complaining about work, or maybe something happened in their family life. You want to make sure that you're there to listen. And listening for more like understanding too, not necessarily so you can respond and like prove that you're listening, but kind of being there for them. Kind of moving forward here, we need to set and respect boundaries. So that's going to be number 3 for us. And this is really important and kind of really difficult for some people to do. I know myself personally, I have a hard time setting boundaries. I have no problem respecting them, but setting them is really kind of a difficult thing to do. Letting people know where you kind of draw the line, what makes you uncomfortable, and being able to tell people that kind of builds some respect. And the people that care about you are going to respect those boundaries and care about that and be aware of those, and vice versa. So maybe this looks like time alone. Maybe you just really need like a set amount of time alone, and it has nothing to do with the other person. But setting that boundary, like, look, I need this time alone, whenever that may be. You can even work stuff out. And making sure that you take care of yourself. And again, listening to their boundaries if it's the same way for them. And having that mutual respect, or what I like to call reciprocity. Making sure that you respect each other's boundaries. Doing these things can really take a lot of pressure off of any relationships you have. Again, family, friends, or partners. And it helps prevent like any kind of commitment to unrealistic expectations, right? We set these boundaries, and it's going to really help us in the long run. Moving forward, talking and listening. So that one feels like a total given, right? Like we have to talk and we have to listen. But communication really is key. And that sounds super cliche, but it's for a reason. It's so important to talk about everything, talking about your feelings, asking questions and listening to answers. Sometimes it's not enough to just listen, right? You have to ask questions, dig deeper, show that you care, and that you're listening. Again, kind of putting in that work and expecting the same for yourself as well. It's not okay to just do it one way and not expect that in return, because we all need that reciprocity, that give and take. So maybe if you're upset, say so. Say you're upset. Don't make them try to figure out why you're upset. And maybe don't necessarily berate them for whatever, like maybe they're the reason, but maybe you communicate that in a healthy way. That doesn't kind of tear down or like make them put up walls, right? And working through these problems and having that open communication, especially in things like an argument, are really going to help build trust, and build your relationship stronger, right? You can, by doing this, you show that capacity to trust and be vulnerable with whoever you're talking to, whatever relationship you're trying to build. Setting those boundaries and talking about things is really going to help build that foundation for a really good, healthy relationship. So whenever something doesn't make you happy, if it has nothing to do with them, maybe you're really upset about something that happened and you're kind of taking it out on them, maybe it's good to also communicate, like, look, this has nothing to do with you and I'm sorry, it's because of this, and communicate that way the other person's not beating themselves up trying to figure out what's wrong, right? We don't want to do that to anyone, and that's not going to help make a healthy relationship, right? All right, so kind of one of my favorite ones is just the talking and communication. It's okay to have disagreements. What matters is that you're talking and we're listening to one another, listening to understand, not necessarily to respond. Okay. So emotions and being vulnerable are huge. All right. Letting go of control. Okay. It's nice to be able to have aspects of our lives that we can control. And it gets kind of scary when we can't. A lot of things happen that we can't control that are completely out of our hands. And sometimes we're going to have to just let that go. What we can do is control how we react to certain things, but not necessarily how other people will. And so having that understanding and being an active listener and talking about those things, we can kind of get a broader understanding, and we can make a better conscious decision how we want to control our own actions. But letting go of the fact that, this person had a really bad day and there's nothing I can do about that. We don't need to try to fix things. Sometimes we just want another person to say, that really sucks. And be like, yeah, it does suck, and just have that understanding. You don't need to control the situation. You don't need to fix it. You just kind of need to be there. It's going to be huge, and it's hard. And even sometimes this could be like, maybe if we're living with someone, maybe it's even a new roommate and we're super clean, and the new roommate leaves toenail trimmings everywhere. Ew. And it's like, you can ask them to clean that up, and that's something maybe, that's a discussion that could change. But maybe also they leave their dishes in the sink after dinner, but they always clean it up the next morning, and they just let them soak there. And maybe I'd prefer those dishes to be done right away, but they do get them done early in the morning. So I'm going to let go of that control over that. I'm not going to make an issue about it, because that's just kind of how they deal. This is kind of a simple example on kind of a trivial matter, but we practice in those little ways, and it helps with some of the bigger issues that come up in our lives. Then finally, my last little tip for you guys is reflect and learn. So when we have these conversations, whether they're good conversations, bad conversations, whatever they might be, everything in between, wanting to know that we have a healthy way of expressing our feelings and reacting to people in a healthy way is really important. If we're angry and we take things out and we just kind of explode, it's not the end of the world, but let's take a moment to reflect on why we lost control, why we blew up, why did we get so angry, and kind of learn from that. And maybe think, okay, next time something like this happens, I have a better way of dealing with this or communicating that, hey, this is really upsetting for me. Maybe can we take a 5-minute break or 15-minute break? Taking time to take these difficult conversations and advocating for yourself, setting those boundaries, listening to how the other people feel. You see how all of these tips kind of stack together. And then again, afterwards, kind of learn about yourself. Take time to reflect and think about these conversations and how you can improve, right? Or maybe learn, and maybe that's improving the relationship or improve with your relationship with yourself. So reflecting and learning is a huge part. We're always growing as people, right? None of us are perfect, and we're always constantly changing, growing, learning, and adapting. And so those are really important things. So those are my tips for everybody. And this is a few ways that we can build healthier, happier relationships with all of our loved ones, friends, family, partners, colleagues, everybody. And we have all kinds of resources. Maybe there's some relationships we don't know how to handle. Maybe some really bad and we need some help. That's, again, I'm gonna say, check out that SEL Tier 3 support. We have so much information on that website that's in the description. It's an incredible resource. So again, check that out. But going back to our tips, what was your favorite thing that I kind of maybe mentioned today? Was there something that really resonated with you? Something that maybe you want to work on for yourself or in a relationship in your life? Or do you have another way or another tip that you'd like to share with everybody on how you maintain a healthy relationship, whether it's your partner, families, or friends? Go ahead and let us know. Share with everybody else listening in their comments what helps you maintain healthy relationships. So let us know in the comments, leave a like, and make sure you subscribe so you get all of these podcasts and all of our other good information that comes out. So check out our SEL website, leave a like, and that's going to do it for us today. As always, this is your transition podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.